Just looking at the 49ers roster itself, there is an imminent need for wide receiver in the later rounds. I've got a great prospect here that might seize the moment when he's given it, and I think he deserves the opportunity. Wide receiver Vinnie McDonald from RPI. Stay tuned for a great show.
Let's go get him. Let's go get him today, man. Let's go. Hey, dominate on 3. 1, 2, 3. Dominate.
What's up, guys? I'm back here with another video today, and it's a special one. I know you guys tuned in to yesterday where I had Juwan Taylor on from Alcorn State. Last week we had Ezra Gray, and today we've got another player, Vinnie McDonald. Vinnie, how you doing today, man?
I'm doing good, man. How's everything going for yourself?
It's going great. I mean, it's busy. 49ers news is back on. I had a nice little vacation last week. Coming back, how's just in general, how's the week been for you?
Week's been good, very busy. Currently in grad school, wrapping up with finals and presentations and whatnot. So trying to make sure I stay strong with that, and things are picking up on my part-time job as well. So making sure I'm staying on top of everything going on.
Wow, that's a lot for sure. And I mean,
Yeah.
let's just start there, right? Just starting to get to people to get to know you. And guys, before I start with Vinny, I think it's very important for everyone to know that a lot of these athletes, like, not only are they athletes and produce at an amazing way on the football field, but they're humans. And especially with the Debo Samuel news, with him getting death threats, I think it's important for us to really realize that these players are just like us, just like the human aspect, and we should really like look to cherish that instead of trying to take players down for decisions that are best for themselves and their families. So, with that said, Vinny, I want to start with the academic side and your personal side, right? You chose to go to RPI, one of the most rigorous academic universities in the entire country. What kind of prompted that decision? And speak to your experience, like as a student.
Yeah. For sure, RPI definitely is one of the top schools in the country, which makes it so rigorous as well. But honestly, coming out of high school, that was the only option I really had. I remember sitting down with my dad, and we were just looking at all the applications, denial letters, waitlisted, and even some that I got into were asking for 20, $30,000 per year. And honestly, me and my family couldn't afford it. So coming out of high school, I already knew that it was either I find a school for free, or I have to go the JUCO route, or I just have to hustle up some money to go to trade school, or the case may be. So RPI actually gave me opportunity to come on a full ride scholarship. So I just thought it was a no brainer. Like I remember I committed before even visiting the school. I just sent my $500 deposit. I was like, look, I'm going. I don't care what it is, what it is. I'm just gonna go out there and just make the most of it.
That's great. I mean, just in a way, embracing the opportunity rather than looking down upon it. I think that does speak to a bit of your character. I know a lot of people tune into the space where they could hear more about you, and I just want to
Yeah.
get that information out in a way. So, at RPI itself, like, how did you give the balance between academics and athletics? Because obviously, being a receiver and being like of the player that you are, putting that much effort in towards your craft while also maintaining your academic side, how did you find that balance? And like, how have you improved kind of year to year academically in a way?
Yeah, definitely for sure. It's definitely hard. Also on top of the academics, I came into the school as a computer systems engineer, so taking all the rigorous coding
Ooh.
classes, electrical engineering classes, all that crazy stuff. While also being involved in my community. There's three other organizations I was involved in as well, on top of doing football. So it definitely was a lot of my plate, a lot of my time. Most days I just got up and just had stuff to do back to back to back, and I just kind of just plowed through it. I made sure I managed my time, making sure I know what to do. I have a weekly planner that helped me get through a bunch of my stuff. But honestly, um, the way I really got through things is by tapping in on my mental. I think mental toughness is one thing that really helped me get through the stuff because it can become a lot. It can be overwhelming. When you look at your calendar, you realize you got 6 or 7 things to do with the assignments due on top of that too. It just starts to become like, wow, I got 3 classes. I got 5:30 a.m. practice. I got to come back again for another practice. I got 3 classes. I got assignments. Well, I got this meeting for this org and a meeting for that org. And it starts to become like, wow, like this is too much to handle. But honestly, just making use of my free time, whether that's 20 minutes, 30 minutes, I'll go over to my friend's house, we hang out, or I call one of my family members, or I'll just find any way to get my escape. Whether that's like 20 minutes in a video game, which I play 20, 30 minutes here or there just to free my mind off of things. But that's kind of how I got through it. Just mastering my craft and making sure I'm staying on top of everything I got going on.
And I mean, there's really one, like, I don't like to diminish your amazing, like, responsibilities to accolades, right? But to me, at least when I was looking at your profile, there was one that just stood out to me. And it's not a one-time thing, it was a 2-year thing. And that was that you were the AFCA Good Works team nominee for RPI in 2020 and 2021. For those of you that don't know, that essentially that award goes to the player on a team that essentially is very involved off the field in addition to their on the field prowess. And I think that that just shows to your character in a way that not only are you committed to football, but you're also committed to just making your community a better place and just putting yourself engaged with the community. Would you say that kind of fits your bill?
Yeah, 100%. To go on further with that point, I'm
Yeah.
involved. Currently the president now for a thing called Student Athletic Advisory Committee (SAC). I spent a lot of time, reading to kids at elementary schools nearby. I even found some time, my own time, to go give out food to lower income families or even mentor kids in a low income area. I like to really develop and work with my community as a whole because I feel like there's a lot I could bring to the table outside, of course, me being an athlete, but kids could look at me with a similar face, be able to relate to some of this experience they're going through, and give them a safe space to talk to and kind of motivate them to be a positive role model that I know some of them are slacking with.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that's really important, right? Because not only like it just shows, right, where some people, some prospects, and I'm totally like I don't want to take away from other players who don't necessarily do as much off the field work, but it really shows the type of person you are, and I think that's really important, at least not only to football teams in the pre-draft process, but like staying true to your craft in a way and staying true to your what you believe in, going like just going into your general NFL career. Now, Vinny, what was your major in college? I know you talked about computer systems. Did you continue with that? Because I know you're in grad school. And what do you plan to graduate in?
So I'm currently in grad school. So undergrad, I started as computer systems engineer. Then I switched over to a thing called industrial management engineering. We call it IME for short, 'cause that's a mouthful to
Mhm.
say every time. So I graduated that undergrad, and now I'm going to be graduating on May 21st with dual masters with business analytics and supply chain management.
Ooh, okay. So
Yeah.
two different fields in a way. And how do you think that this has kind of set you up for life after football?
Honestly, just my previous internships, and like you said, RPI being an international renowned institution, that once football is all said and done with me, I can literally reach out to not every single job, but almost any job I want. I'm also part of a fraternity, so I can use my connections in there as well to help establish me with delivering a foundation for myself once football is all said and done.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And I mean, not only is like the collegiate kind of part of the process very important to you, but also the way that you grew up. I know you're from the New York City area, Long Island area, and that might be a little more difficult in that kind of place for you to come out of and like make a name for yourself in a way. So, can you just take me through your upbringing in a way and how you got to the point that you are today?
Yeah, it's funny you say that, because I'm actually born in Maryland, which is a fun fact I tell a
Ooh,
lot of people. Yeah,
okay.
I lived in 4 different states, so I bounced around a lot. So football kind of was on and off for me growing up just because I moved around so much and I wasn't really,
Yeah.
keen to it. It wasn't my calling. I actually played basketball a lot. I was pretty good at basketball, up until I came back to New York. I lived in Queens for a little bit. I spent some time there. Then I ended up switching over to Elmont, and I say like around my ninth or 10th grade, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna give this football thing a shot again. So I went back to doing it and just grinding my way all the way up until this point now.
And that's just like amazing, right? Where not all football players are just into football right from the jump, right? You it's not necessarily like a thing that you just have to start with, but it just also shows that even though you started maybe later than others, the dedication is still there because you're on this stage right now.
No, I definitely agree, and that's one thing I tell my little brother now. I say, look, if there's anything I'll do differently, is I'll take the sport a lot serious when I was a lot younger. I felt like that would help develop me a lot further. Because you
Mhm.
talk about getting a late start. Yes, it's still possible to develop, but at the rate that other guys have been playing since like 8 or 9 years old, you're definitely way behind the eight ball. So it definitely did require a lot more extra work and a lot more knit and grit to get to where I'm at.
Now, one thing though that you aren't behind on, it's that big size of yours. You're 6 foot, 215, 220. I mean, just an athletic freak. How do you think, like just going football related now, how do you think that that applies, not necessarily in the college level, but also at the NFL level? And how do you think that your skills with that size, that just God given size, can translate to the NFL?
It could translate a whole lot. I remember I spent some time with my agency out in California. I'm training with these NFL players, and I'm training around these Division 1 players, and people are looking at me as if I'm a defensive end or I'm a linebacker because I'm so huge. I'm like, nah, I play wide
Mhm.
receiver. And then they'll see me move and how I move. They're just like, whoa. So like, I honestly feel like someone who's 6'4", 220 plus pounds, who could get in and out their breaks and maneuver, who's not afraid to block inside or outside. You could kind of put me all around on the field, and I'll do whatever it takes to get open, to catch the ball, to make a block, or just do whatever is needed for the play. So whether I'm in the slot, whether you have me tight next to the tackle or out wide by myself at the Z or X, I know I'll be able to make some plays happen.
And 49ers fans are not like they know exactly the type of player that that kind of guy is because we have a very similar player in Juwan Jennings, a seventh round pick out of Tennessee, 6'3", 215, who can also get in and out of those breaks. And I think that that's honestly a good comparison because you're in a way a reliable threat because that speed doesn't hinder you. You run 4.5, which is almost as fast as a good amount of players. Like you see a lot of players, Stephon Diggs and all these type of players who aren't necessarily as big run that fast. And I think that, having a combination of size, but also speed, and most importantly, that quickness coming out of those breaks, I think that really is like a good complete package at the wide receiver position. Now, the main reason really, in a way that you're here speaking to a 49er content creator is that they came to your pro day. How's that experience in a way? And how do you think that went? I know the Jets were there, the Giants were there, and the 49ers. How was like not only the experience of having the pro day, but also seeing that real NFL teams were coming and like noticing your talent?
Yeah, definitely was a dream come true. I'll definitely say, coming from Division 3 school, like I mentioned earlier in the previous Twitter space I had, it's something unheard of. Division 3 player
Right.
getting invited to a pro day is kind of rare, kind of like a once in a lifetime opportunity. So it felt really good to do that. I remember getting the text, Coach Byam over at Yomi said, "Hey, you're coming to the pro day. The Giants want to see you," and I was like, wow, like thank you God. So it was really great. The experience itself was super super cool. I know the Giants that came to my practice during the fall of 2021. So during my season, I know I spoke to one of the scouts who was actually there at my pro day. He came and spoke to me, so it was cool to see him again. Reconnect with him, and honestly, it was great. I was just able to go out there and just showcase people that hey, look, I passed the eye test, but I also passed the physical test as well. You put me out here, have me
Right.
run routes, do the 40-yard dash, the broad jump, vert jump, whatever the case may be. I'm gonna come out here. I'm gonna give them all. So I was glad to just see that teams will give me an opportunity to even just look. I know a lot of people look overlook that, but just for one or two or three eyes to look at you and say, okay, wow, this kid can ball is just a blessing in itself. So I'm just blessed and highly favored to have the opportunity. Because I'm very fortunate. No matter if there was one team there or all 32 teams there, just anybody there in general was a blessing in itself. So I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful to show off my skill. I'm grateful to even have these conversations now where people are starting to understand, like, hey, look, we got a kid coming out of New York. This guy might be a problem. Give him a look. That's just a
Yeah.
blessing as a whole. So I'm just thankful and grateful for it all.
And that's great to hear because I mean, you said it yourself. A lot of those D3 schools might be overlooked. Not, I know, like at least from personal experience, looking at NDSU where we selected Trey Lance last year. A lot of people were writing off Trey Lance because he came from that FCS type of school. So yeah, that's definitely understandable. And I want to ask you, going from there, right? Since a lot of D3 schools overlooked, do you think you'll have an extra chip on your shoulder if you go undrafted, or do you even think that chip is already there?
Chips already there. Just me coming from New York in general. Like I know a lot of my best friends are from the DMV, from Georgia, Texas, and California. They just like, oh, New York football is trash. Like y'all coming from New York are trash. So I generally just have that chip on my shoulder.
Yeah.
Anybody from New York City, we just got that chip on our shoulder, that knit. that grit, that hustle, that extra grind. Like that's just how we are from the city. So that is just naturally born into me. On top of being doubted already, it's gonna make me go even 10 times harder than I already was going to.
And I mean, you speak to your dedication right there, right? Because like you said earlier, not only are you a grad student, you've been through internships and you have that entire avenue working for you. But with all of that involved, how dedicated do you think you are to football? And do you think that, like with your background, do you think that kind of this is the best avenue forward for you? And do you think that your passion kind of can exceed at the next level or
Not for
excel at
sure,
the
my
next level?
yeah, my dedication is there for sure. Being able to develop myself this far with not, I don't want to downplay Division 1, Division 2, or other guys from different divisions, but coming
Right.
from a school where we're coming from a school where academics is first,
Hmm.
football is second. I don't want to downplay anyone, but at my school they don't really care for the athletic side of things. So when it comes to having that extra spring practices or the summer grind, I gotta do that on my own. I gotta do it on my own. My school's not gonna care about that. Why would they? They're trying to get people ready for the career jobs and stuff like that. So me being able to just throw myself out there with no guidance, no help. I shouldn't say no guidance, but little guidance, a little help, and being able to get this far with my passion already as it is, with the extra top tier guidance, top tier training, top tier experts helping me get to the next level, I really feel like my game can evolve and take it to a level that I haven't seen before. Just like that, I haven't even reached my prime. So being able to have those resources with me can really help me evolve my game to a level where it's a diamond in a rough situation. We found a kid, we develop him into one of our star players or to a predominantly good role player or whatever the case may be. And that's just kind of how I feel because I'm passionate about this. If I wasn't, I could have dropped football. I could have been focused on all the other things going on. Like you see, like I just forgot 2 or 3 other things I didn't even mention that I'm still doing as well. So me being able to wake up this early, go to class, go here, go there, go do that, and then train, it just speaks volumes to how bad I want this. Because not a lot of people who
Right.
do the things I do. Like my friends ask me, like, "Yo, like your days are crazy." Like I'm like, "Hey, this is what I want to do. I'm trying to chase
Dedication.
yeah, dedication is like I'm trying to chase my degree, but I'm also trying to chase this NFL opportunity while I'm also trying to launch my company. It's like, what do I focus on? I'm like, I'm gonna focus on all three, and I'm gonna make sure I get it
Mhm.
done. But no excuses. So that's just kind of how my mentality is.
Man, I love that mentality. I mean, just the way that nothing can ever really eclipse you, just you full on with a full head of steam, just attacking everything. I think that that's amazing, and to see it in a person, of course, of our age, right? Just going like in college itself, you expect like someone with this many ideas and like this much passion to be a lot older, but you still being in college, being a graduate student, I think that's amazing, and that's why I really like this kind of part, right? Because you can see not only are these guys putting countless hours into training, but you see players like yourself putting so many resources and all, especially because you're underrepresented coming from a D3 school, putting so many resources towards academics, putting so many resources behind the scenes that players don't, or like us fans don't necessarily see. And that's just amazing to me.
Thank you, thank you.
Now, let's speak to your football accolades. Obviously, at RPI, you were at least this last year, right? 46 receptions, 659 yards. But the biggest thing for me, 9 touchdowns in 2021, 6 touchdowns in 2019. For me, you were a touchdown machine with that big size. What do you provide in a way to an NFL team?
Just reliable. It's funny you mentioned that because last season I only played in 9 games, so I scored in every
Right.
game I played in.
Mhm.
While I was suffering a major injury, so I was able to just perform on that level. So I would just say reliable. A lot of my yards and touchdowns came on literally crucial moments in our games. Fourth down, fourth quarter, we need a touchdown. Like whatever the moment may be, there's many different scenarios I can create, but just being able to say, "Hey, I'm gonna call on whatever jersey number I am at the next level," and I know he's gonna deliver for me. There's times where coaches literally say, "Hey, look, we need to play. Just throw it to him. He's gonna be open. Just get him the ball." And literally, my quarterback will just look for me, get me the ball. I'll make a play. Do whatever is needed for the team. So, just being able to be reliable, to be confident in what I do, and to be consistent.
And I mean, you spoke to it yourself, right? You're not a guy who falters in the big moments. Last year itself in the NCAA playoffs, 7 receptions, 122 yards. The biggest thing, 2 touchdowns. So you're there in the biggest moments as well and delivering Consistency is there for sure. And I think that that's important at the next level. But to start it off, right, obviously a lot of rookies starting their careers don't necessarily start on the field, but on special teams instead. For an NFL team, special teams obviously is extremely important. How confident are you in your ability to contribute on that level in the NFL?
I'll do it. I'm a natural born athlete. I'm fast. I can jump. I'm strong. I'm quick. So if they need me to be a guard on punt, I'll be a guard on punt. If they need me to be in the a number six on kickoff, I'll be number six. Whatever they need me to do, I'll do it. I don't mind doing it and putting my body out there.
And what really separates you, right, from other players in this draft? Because obviously, ton of receivers, ton of athletes. What do you think yourself is kind of your separating factor?
You said it yourself, my size. I'm just looking at receivers coming out of this draft. Not many are built like my size. It's only a
Right.
small handful. I mean, like you said, being able to get in and out my breaks and just my character alone speaks volumes. Because yeah, a guy can have all of the physiques, but if they don't have the mental fortitude or the character to help them grow and develop them, it's kind of just a waste to have them on the team. So just being able to be coachable, put me in any environment, I can take any type of constructive feedback, whether a coach is up in my grill or a coach is more laid back. I'll be able to take the feedback, apply it quickly, just make sure that it's not a reoccurring problem. I'm gonna make mistakes. There's things that's gonna go wrong. Just being able
Mhm.
to overcome that, be resilient, being able to constantly grind through it to get better and do what's best for the team.
And you said it yourself, right? That grind is important. And obviously, there are a lot of players that have gotten in that same path from underrepresented schools. I know a good amount of players on the 49ers itself where there are a lot of undrafted gems, right, in the NFL. Receiver wise, just on our team itself, we've had Kendrick Bourne, who went undrafted. We have Juwan
Mhm.
Jennings, a seventh round pick. We have a multitude of these players, and you definitely could fit that bill, like you said. Is there any kind of anyone in the NFL that you kind of look forward to playing with?
Oof. I would say either DK or
Oh,
Kyle Pitts or George Kittle or Travis Kelsey or oof, that's a tough question because there's a lot of guys I really admire my game after, or even a Devontae Adams, like guys of those caliber and skills just to learn from them, and just grow, like learn how they get better, learn their craft, to just follow behind them and kind of be like their shadow in a sense.
and I actually really like the four players that you mentioned at the beginning: DK, Pitts, Kelsey, and Kittle, because all four of those in a way are unique, right? DK Metcalf, big receiver, but has the size, and he's a dominant receiver in today's NFL. Kyle Pitts, tight end, no, he can play anything you want him to play because he's so unique with that size, but also the speed. And then Travis Kelsey and George Kittle, right? A combination of purely like just essentially a wide receiver with a tight end body, and then George Kittle, one of the best blockers, but also can do it all in the receiving game. Four unique players, and obviously you with your size kind of bring that in a way. Is there any player who you kind of model your game after?
That's a tough question because, like, I know I said DK in the last space because that's who I really watch a lot. But if there's anyone I really try to model my game after, it might be Julio Jones. Like the way he
Ooh.
breaks down and get out his breaks. Like I'm not sure if you noticed, but like the way he just gets in and out is just so crispy and smooth. Like back when he's
Mhm.
healthy in his prime, back in Atlanta, back during that Super Bowl run they had, just watching him just be able to take off and get out his breaks in 3 to 4 steps is just so crisp. I just like to watch it because he's a big body guy, fast, strong, and just being able to get in and out at his frames, kind of something I really try to model, like someone I really try to model my game after.
And Vinny, before I let you go, because I mean, we've seen the portions of your game that kind of pop out, right? Your size, the ability to get out of breaks. But I think the most underrated part of your game isn't necessarily on the field. Well, it's on and off the field, and that's your leadership. Before I let you go, how can you speak to your leadership and how you've kind of grown with your organization at RPI with the COVID year and everything? Through your experience at RPI, how do you think your leadership has kind of grown and contributed to that environment?
For sure. It definitely. So there's two types of leaders. You have vocal leaders and leaders by example. And in my early years, I definitely was a leader by example. I didn't really talk much. That's just because I'm so locked in and wired. Like, look, I'm gonna do these drills. You're gonna come with me or not. Was kind of like my mentality or how I thought about things. But as I started to grow and develop into becoming more of like a role model, someone people looked up to. I started to be more talkative, pulling guys to the side in the locker room. People ask me, "Hey, Vinny, I'm in a slump right now. How can I get out of it?" I'll send them some videos on YouTube, some inspirational videos that really work with them. "Hey, Vinny, what's some drills I can do on the side? These are some drills you can do on the side, bro. You want me to come with you? All right, come. Let's come outside. Let's get this work." And just being able to really cultivate and mentor a lot of the younger people underneath me, to help them grow. Because if they become better, I become better as a person. They become better as a player. The team becomes better as a whole. So just being able to really work with the people, like you said during the COVID year, it's another point to bring up. Division 3, my school is ready to my school cancel the season. No coaches. I didn't meet my coaches from the end of 2019 up until the beginning of 2021 season. So a lot of the work that had to be done for us to stay ready was up to me and my 3 other captains. So we will meet with people, create Snapchat group chats so we can send each other workouts we're doing to keep each other motivated. We'll meet with each other. Being upstate New York, the snowy weather, we'll literally grab shovels. Like 30 of us grab shovels and snow off the shovel off the field, create a little 20 by 20 box and just get some work in. Just really going that extra mile, extra step to ensure that, hey, look, we're keeping everyone accountable. Listen, this is what
Yeah,
we need to do. This needs to get done, and just be able to just not only and just be able to walk the talk. Like I can talk all I want, but if I'm not walking it, it won't be respected. So just telling
right.
people, hey, this is what you need to do, and being able to back it up with my actions is kind of what helped me develop as a leader, and let my voice be heard. I wasn't the most talkative person, but when I spoke and everyone heard me speak because I spoke what needed to be said. I didn't speak gibberish. I didn't speak nonsense. I'm not going to go on these rants. Hey, look, we're struggling in this part. Hey, look, we're doing good in this part. And being able to balance negative and positive feedback. You don't want to do too much positive feedback where you just feel like you're just kind of being like this guy that's just kind of like a lawyer. Oh yeah, you're so good, bro. Don't worry, coach is gonna back you up. But also being able to say, hey, look, bro, coach is not playing you because you're BSing in this area. You're loafing here. You're not doing this. You're not doing that. That's why you're not playing. That's why you're not getting better. And just be able to balance those two, to be a true leader on and off the field.
And I mean, that's amazing, right? Because a lot of players do try and lead by example. A lot of players are vocal as well, but having that growth, now you're a leader, not only can you back your play up, but you also add an extra element, which to the common fan might not be seen, but especially in that locker room, right? It's extremely important. Accountability, self accountability, but also holding your own teammates accountable. And just that leadership, I think that's really important going to the NFL level, where you have to, at such a young age, you have to like exhibit that professionalism. So
Yeah.
I think that that definitely is a great factor of you. But Vinny, leader, 6'4", 220, can break 4'5", 40. I mean, the character is there as well. It's just a full profile. And man, I wish you nothing but success in this pre-draft process, and hope nothing but success for your 53-man roster hope as well. So thank you
Yeah.
so much for coming
Thank
on.
you.
I really wish nothing but the best for you. And yeah, I'll let you go now.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you so much. God bless. We'll be in touch.
Yes, sir. And actually, real quick, I want everyone to make sure you guys go hit up his socials. You can just give a drop and let people know where they can find you.
Yeah, for sure. Should I do it in the chat or just say it?
You can say it out loud. That's fine.
Or Instagram at vmac.2, VMAC period 2, Twitter, VMAC_2. Kind of that's pretty much the two main things I use right there, Twitter and Instagram. And TikTok as
And
well.
guys,
I just created
yeah,
a
go ahead.
TikTok. I literally just created a TikTok like last week. So I'm still trying to learn how to use it. But same thing, VMAC.2 as well.
And for those of you who didn't catch that, that'll all be in the description of the video. But Vinny, thank you so much. And everyone else, have a great rest.